This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young on ESPN Radio 94.1.
And good morning to everybody. Welcome back here to 757 Saturday Morning Sports Talk, brought to you by VirginiaPreps.com. And we also are talking about some high school football here coming up. As I got distracted, the voice you hear is not that of Matt Hatfield, the regular major host. I'm the minor co-host. I'm the Coach Ed Young. We just kicked Matt out of here and sent him on assignment. He thinks he's going to a game, but who knows where he's going to. But he is doing one of his other duties, VirginiaPreps.com. And by the way, let me tell you this. You got state playoffs coming up in basketball. If you want to find out what's going on, who looks good and whatever, go to VirginiaPreps.com and you'll get all the information you need. One of the guys that goes to VirginiaPreps.com a lot for some football information is graciously joining us here this morning. He is the first-year head coach at Norview High School, a former stomping grounds of mine. And I know this guy. Somewhat. And I got some stories to tell, but I got to be careful because he was in my building too. He might have a story or two to tell me, and I don't know if I want them all out there. But let's bring in the head coach of Norview football, Ian Rapanick. Ian, you out there?
Coach Young, how you doing?
Hey, my man, it is good to hear from you. And first of all, congratulations on putting that title head coach right after your name. Now, I know it feels great. I
appreciate it, Coach. It's been a long time coming to get in a job like this, and we're looking forward to the season and all that stuff. So it's been exciting. Well,
let's do this first of all. I always like to educate our listeners too, the people we have coming on, especially coaches. Let's go back, way back. It's not way back because you're one of them young bucks. Let's go back to your high school days, where you went to high school, sports you played, college days, and then right into your early coaching right up until today.
Okay. So I went to Hickory High School. I played football there for 4 years, played left tackle. When I graduated, I knew I wanted to do something in coaching, but I wasn't really sure how to get into it. And I went to Old Dominion, straight out of high school, and I got a job actually in equipment with Tommy Rapier, who was the head equipment manager then. And I worked for them for a fall. And then, like I said, I knew I wanted to do something with coaching. And I saw these guys running around at practice one day, and I was like, man, I really want to do that. They were doing more of the coaching side of stuff. And the next spring, I went and talked to the offensive coordinator at Old Dominion, Brian Scott, at the time. And I wound up working for him for the rest of the time that I was at Old Dominion. I worked for a Virginia high school legend, Bill D., who taught me more than I ever thought I would ever know about football, how to be a head coach, how to do things the right way, how to work hard. And then, I was lucky enough by Coach Wilson at Hickory to get offered a job. I was the head JV coach my first year, and I ran special teams and coached the tackles and tight ends on varsity. He's really the one that gave me a shot and let me see what I really knew. And obviously I'm forever thankful to him for that. And I was at Hickory for 2 years. And then I went down to Perquimans, North Carolina, where I was the head football coach down there for a year. And that's kind of where I got my itch to, want to continue on the path to being a head coach. And I learned a ton down there. A little small 1A school, about 30 minutes outside of Elizabeth City. A lot of people don't know about it. But I learned a ton. Down there, I made some great friends that I still have to this day. And then, I kind of got the itch to want to come back home and get back in the Southeastern District. And Coach Conyers at Nansemond River gave me an opportunity to do that. So I went to Nansemond River and was there for a year, and that's where I met the Coach Ed Young. I came to Norview after that and was the offensive line coach last year. And then, Coach Cotton wanted to get back home to North Carolina, and I was lucky enough to get offered and, obviously accepted the head coaching job here. And, I've been extremely blessed to work with and learn from a lot of great people, a lot of great coaches. And, I just try and get a little better every day and learn as much as I possibly can.
Wow, I'll tell you, you've gone through a varied experience. The key thing I'm hearing, though, is you paid your dues. You were working with equipment collecting equipment, giving out equipment, hanging up equipment, cleaning equipment, washing and dry. You're paying your dues like the video guys do in college and the NBA. Something that I did when I was coaching college at first. I really stuck a lot with scouting and video before I got some on the floor coaching. So you've done your dues, which most of us veterans, us old heads, have done throughout the years. Which sometimes the younger guys just want to jump into the head seat and show everything. Here's what I can do. Here's the X's and O's. But they really haven't paid their dues, and they think everything's owned them. I'm listening to your background. And you have paid your dues from big school, small school, back to big school, small school, variety of different types of coaches. I know a ton of philosophy that you're picking up. And now you've got a chance to be a head coach at a pretty doggone good school, a school that I really loved when I was there, miss it dearly, a great area in Norfolk, Tidewater, Hampton Roads area to begin with. So you're not just starting off at wherever. You've got a really good situation that a lot of people wanted. Now, the thing I have to ask a young guy like you is, you're getting your first big head coaching job, varsity, under the most craziest trying times. Me, as a long-time head coach, didn't know how to handle all this, had a rough time handling all this, had our season taken from us this year, which has totally, I tell people, and I don't want to keep harping on it, it's devastated me. I've had a hard time. I've gone through some real depression with this, because it's something I've done every year for the last 40 years. I've coached a team since my second year of college. I've always had a team. And I still have a team. I still like to think I have kids, but I wasn't out there planning practices, running from gym to gym, during the week to scout, watching tape. I watched some film from the past. Didn't have a team to coach, couldn't call timeouts, couldn't compete against other coaches. How has it been for you, new coach? How have you handled what's been some of the pluses for you? What's been some of the lows for you? And any little key points that you can give an old guy like me to help me through it?
Throughout all this, our administration has been fantastic. Dr. Brower, our principal, has done everything he can to get us out there. Our new athletic director, TJ Adams, has been fantastic. Downtown, Mr. Sutmiller, all those guys have been nothing but supportive. It's been, like you said, it's been crazy, but the one thing that I tell our guys is that all we can do is control what we can control. And, we've been lucky enough to be able to start up the last 2 weeks, and, we're trying to come out every day and get 1% better is what I tell them. And, if we can get 1% better every day, then, I like our chances when we come out the first game. But, the biggest thing, I guess, that I've tried to do is make sure that I always have a plan. And I'm big on making sure that, I can plan for stuff. And this has been very difficult, like you said, trying to have a plan and trying to figure out what's going next and stuff like that. And I'm sure our athletic director's tired of me by now. Until we got started, I was texting him every day trying to figure out when we could start. But I will say that this has really helped me become flexible and, practice what I preach. And, that's control what I can control, and, make sure that whenever that time came that we could start back up, that I was ready, that, I did everything I could to make sure our players are ready. It's been a blessing to be back the last 2 weeks. And, I know our kids are loving it, and, obviously our coaching staff is loving it. And, but yeah, like you said, there's nothing we can do to plan for it. And, we're just trying to take it day by day. And, they pretty much told us at the beginning of this is we just want to get to the next day. We want to make sure we do things the right way and, follow the mitigations and do all this stuff to get to the next day and, be fortunate enough to hopefully on February 26th, host Churchland and have our first, opportunity to really compete against a new team.
Like you say, by the way, we're talking with Ian Rapanick, the new head football coach at Norview High School, Norfolk, Virginia, and of course, a young guy that I've seen come up through the ranks, and a guy that really puts his nose to the grind and gets it done. If you heard the interview a little bit earlier, he's got to start basically with dealing with equipment, collecting equipment, washing equipment, hanging equipment up, chasing equipment down. Now, you guys out there that want to get into coaching, he just told you one of the things you have to do. He got in as a volunteer. He wasn't getting paid, putting in a lot of hours, and to go for doing this and that. And now he's been rewarded. And he will be very good in time. He's got to have some time. Give him some time. But now, as you say, Ian, the big thing you've learned is to be very flexible. because
Absolutely.
you're putting your plan, and I know you're anxious to go. I know you're sweating it out. You're looking at your plans at home, and you got your philosophy down. You got all your assistant coaches ready, and then all of a sudden you might get that call, hey, Coach, we're not starting tomorrow. In fact, we're not sure when we're going to start. This COVID is out here, and now it's like all those plans go down the drain a little bit. Then you got to worry about players because you're trying to establish relationships with them, and it's been a trying time. We go way back to March when all this stuff started, and look what our country went through. Black Lives Matter situation, which is still ongoing and not finished. A president that was doing some crazy things, and then we get COVID, and we didn't get a chance to really talk with our kids about things, because as coaches, we don't just coach. We have to understand what our kids are going through. We have to get feeling from them. What's their opinion? And that's something that I really miss in terms of trying to talk to our kids. But you have done this. Now, you are going to get started. Your first official day of practice have you had it, or is it coming up?
Yes, sir, we had it. So our first official day was Monday, this past Monday. And we were given a week last week to kind of get everything together and make sure that, we were ready and we were running conditioning and things like that. So we're actually practicing right now. So we're just trying to make sure, we're prepared, and we're ready to go. So
see, Ian, I got to interrupt you. That's a great feeling. You can come back. Yes, you can come on the radio because your assistants are running things. Now you made it. You don't have to worry about, okay, where the heck is this extra large helmet? Okay, where's 94's jersey? You can delegate that, and now you have time to come on and do a little bit of, pubbing for your team here on the radio. That's got to be a good feel.
It's a great feeling. And, one of the things that I wanted to do when I got to Norview was bring some Norview guys back, because there's been some great football coaches that have played here and that, have coached here, and there's a sense of pride at Norview High School that I've never seen anywhere else that I've been. And that's not to talk negatively about those schools, but, they truly live for the pilots to be well represented. And the support I've gotten, trying to change some things as far as culture-wise, and, the support I've gotten from the assistants, that I have on staff, the support I've gotten from the community, the guys who have graduated and, obviously want to come back and see games and talk to their coaching staff that they had. There's coaches who are at other schools in Norfolk who I was able to bring back to Norview. And I take a lot of pride in that, and I know they do too. So it's been a lot of fun, and having a staff like I have has been it's been a huge blessing, because they're all go-getters. They all want to be around the kids. They're relationship guys. They do it for the right reason. And it allows me to, sit back and see the whole picture. It allows me to make sure that, culture-wise, we're doing the little things and we're doing what we're supposed to be doing all the time. But yeah, like you said, it's been a blessing to have a staff like I have, because, it's just been so much help, and, we're all kind of, our principal, Dr. Brower, came up with a thing at the beginning of the year that we're building this plane as we fly it. It's everything's different, and we don't know when we're going to have to change a little thing here, but, we're doing whatever it takes, and we take a lot of pride in the fact that we're going to roll with the punches and we're going to control what we can control.
Once again, we're talking with Ian Rapanick, the new head football coach at Norview High School, Norfolk. Ian, before we get into some of your players, because I know we're running short on time here, how about giving us some of the names of those guys that you brought in to help you out? You did say some names in the past. Throw those out there, and then if you would, just move into the some of your players.
Absolutely. So the big guy that I wanted to bring back, who was at Norview, who played quarterback here, his name is Daniel Church. He's our offensive coordinator, and, he and, really our whole offensive staff is all Norview guys that were around. Tyreek Jenkins was the running back coach at Booker T. Coach Church was the pass game coordinator at Booker T. Anton Ashby, we call him Coach Tank. He was the receivers coach at Booker T. So all these guys have stayed local. They've stayed in Norfolk, but, they've always wanted to come back home. And, my big selling point to them was, this is home for you. You have the sense of pride that I want, to make sure that our guys have. I want to make sure that, our guys are taking pride in everything that they do, because, at this point, really, it can be taken away at any time. So, those three, and then, Coach Garrison, our co-defensive coordinator, has been around at Norview forever, and, he's been a huge help to me, just knowing the little things and how things are done in the past, and where things are and things like that. And it's been a big blessing to have those guys.
Okay, how about our time is again dwindling more and more, as my producer's telling me we got to keep moving. But give me some names, some kids to watch out for you guys for this year.
Man, I feel like the list is pretty solid. So we're kind of headlined by one of the hardest working kids I've ever met. One of the guys who really will do whatever it takes, and that's Marquise Dietz. I tell people he's kind of the heart and soul of our team. When he talks, everybody listens. When he says that something's not right, everybody listens and we fix it. Donovan Everett is another big one. Kind of the kind of kid who you want your kid to be like. He's a great student. We call it the pilot standard. He's a great student, a great person, and a great player. And he signed with the Naval Academy last week, excuse me. Those two are big ones. Josh Johnson, who can play all over the field, and he does. He's a little scrappy kid, but he flies around. He's not scared to get his nose dirty and do all that stuff. Jaden Bryant is an O-lineman. He's a 2022 kid who I expect to have a huge year for us. He started for us a little bit last year, but he's worked hard. He's got all the tools to play college football. Jaden Deloach is another 2022 kid who plays wide receiver and corner for us, and he's having a really big couple weeks for us, and even going back to the beginning of March, and when we started back up in October, and then it all comes back to our quarterback Taquan Trockman, who started 9 games as a freshman last year. He's going to start for us this year, QB1, and he's a hardworking kid, and he's really coming into his own his sophomore year. To get the keys and, be able to run the offense and be a leader for us. But, a lot of those guys, Marquise, Donovan, Josh, those are Shaden really, those are all guys that just don't come off the field for us because they're game changer type guys. They're guys who, with the ball in their hands, are explosive. But, on defense, they're going to fly around. They're going to make plays. They play the ball well. It's going to be really, really exciting to watch them play this year.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ian, I think it's going to be exciting to watch you on that sideline with the interaction with your new coaches coming in. I know the excitement, enthusiasm will be there. The knowledge is there, and you've got athletes, you got some kids. It's going to be interesting, and I wish you the best. And like I said, stick to your philosophy, make adjustments as need be, but don't let anybody tell you what it has to be done. You get it done your way and get those kids to buy in it. But look, I appreciate you coming on. My producer's throwing knives at me. If they come through this glass, I'm dead. But I appreciate you coming on. I know we'll be talking again in the future. First game is what date?
February 26th. Mark Churchland comes to town. So
ooh, the Truckers. Okay, well, look, we wish you the best, Ian. I appreciate you coming on and bailing me out because Matt left me with nobody, and I said, give me Ian. He gave me Ian. Right. So, all right, you take care. And, again, best of luck to you, Ian.
Thank you, Coach Young. I appreciate you having me. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, now.
All right.
There you heard Ian Rapanick from the new head football coach at Norview High School. We got to hurry up and get out of here and pay some bills and take a break, and then we'll come on back here to Saturday morning, 757 Saturday Morning Sports Talk right here on ESPN Radio 94.1.